Okay, just checking out the audio, making sure we're good. Sounds good to me. Cool. Well, we're just about ready to start. We're about 2 minutes to 5 o'clock. So if everybody who's watching just hangs on for a couple minutes, we'll wait to see if anybody else is joining, and we will go from there. Thank you all so much. Hang on just a few minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay. I think we're ready to get going. It's just about 5 o'clock. See, there's a few people who have joined us. Thank you very much. Just give it a quick minute before we start up, guys. Won't be long now. It's going to be a fun episode today, talking about lenses and third-party manufacturers, not just the branded Nikon, Canon, Sony classic lenses. So should be an interesting conversation. I hope you guys are excited for it, and I know I am. So if the sound isn't good or if the video cuts out or anything, let me know. If I disappear, hang tight, I'll be back. The OBS software sometimes will crash. Hasn't done it yet. I keep on warning people, but fingers crossed. Hello, Mims. Hello, Doug. Thank you for being here as always, guys. Just be a couple seconds here. It's 5 o'clock. Let's start it up. Well, as you all know, this is Henry's camera. We are live right now, so there's things going on. We have the machine beeping over there that needs paper changed or something. So if you hear that, it's not the end of the world. We're going to be talking about third-party lenses. It's just like when you buy equipment for your car. If it's not an OEM, original equipment manufacturer brand, it's called a third party. That's what we're going to be talking about lenses-wise today. We all know how important it is to have a good camera, but having a good lens is equally, if not more so, important. One of the things I always say is you date the body, but you marry the lens. What that means is body's technology will change quite a bit. Lenses, you buy a good lens, it'll last you 20 or 30 years. So that's where we want to sink our money in. And a lot of people don't know there's a lot of really good alternatives out there. Henry's carries quite a few. There's quite a few that we don't carry. There's so many things out there in the world these days. It's hard to carry everything. But you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's get into some conversation about it and go from there. Before I start, no questions. Very good. Okay. As you all know, I do a thing before I start called the Did You Know? Did you know is a digital know-how, a quick tip. Hey, did you know something? Today's Did You Know, since we're talking about lenses, is the lens pen. Lens pen is probably the best little accessory you will ever have in your photography world. It's a little pen that has a brush on one side and a felt pad on the other. Just makes it really easy to clean your lenses, the front, the back, the very edges. No liquid necessary, and they last such a long time. So a quick Did You Know this week is literally just have a lens pen in your kit. Doesn't have to be the whole bundle. It could be a single lens pen. You could have different sizes of lens pens if you want to. You can get cloths, but ultimately it's a cleaning accessory to make sure your lens is always clean. Clean lens will focus much better than a dirty lens. So I always recommend a lens pen. That's my Did You Know for today. So what's new and used? New, there's actually a lot of stuff that's new. The first thing is something I am personally ridiculously excited for. In fact, I'm so excited I'm buying one. Yes, the cat's out of the bag. I'm actually going to buy a camera. It doesn't happen often, every 10 years or so. But this is the camera that's finally making me bite that bullet. This is the brand new Nikon Z6 version 3. It was announced on Monday, June 17th. It is the world's first to adopt a partially stacked CMOS sensor. In English, that means more surface area for pixels, meaning bigger pixels, meaning much better low light. So I'm super excited about how this is going to be for my world of photography, all the wrestling. But it's not just the stacked sensor. That's obviously one of the big things that they're talking about. But it does 6K video recording. It has a brighter electronic viewfinder. So the viewfinder in the screen is going to be rivaling the Z9 and the Z8s, making it the brightest ever. It's actually surpassing those of the Z9 and Z8. So it's going to be one of the brightest viewfinders in mirrorless camera history. Of course, that's of June 17th, just have to stipulate. But amazing performance. One of the cool things I'm excited about is this new functions to further expand possibilities for imaging expression. Y'all know I'm big into expression. That's my podcast with my manager, Aurora, my friend Sean and Mark. I name all of my stuff Expressions. My business in the future is going to be named Expressions because it's so important that we learn to express ourselves creatively. One of the things that they have are these things called imaging recipes. So essentially it's custom picture controls that you can program in the Nikon software and then upload that with a memory card into your camera to actually have your own custom color settings in your camera that you can call on at any time. So a lot of people these days like film photography. You can get a custom film look setting, upload that to your Nikon camera, and without editing, without doing anything after the fact, you can be shooting in this really cool recipe that you've created. So that's something that's super exciting. I'm really excited for that. Another new thing that's out in the market right now, just announced actually on June 5th, is the new Canon EOS C400. Now, if I were a video guy, I'd probably be more excited about this camera because it's a full frame stacked sensor, not partially or any of that. It's a true stacked sensor, which means now this is going to be the flagship now for Canon's video lineup. I'm not going to go into too many of the features about it, but if you're a video guy, I highly recommend you source this thing out. It does a lot of really cool things for the pro video user, which I am not one of, so I will move past that. Now, this is something that is an interesting thing that we just found. Everybody knows these days, well, maybe you don't know. I'm going to tell you, disposable cameras are super popular. There are disposable cameras everywhere. We go through a full bin every week of photo finishing just for disposable cameras, mostly. I'd say 80%. What would you say, Aurora? 80% disposable cameras? If that, maybe higher? Yeah, she's nodding. You can't see that, but anyway, this right here is an app you can download to your phone that allows you to personalize a whole event. So say, for example, years ago, my grandmother got married. She was 84 years old. She got a disposable camera and left it on every table of her wedding party. A lot of people are doing that these days. Now what you do is you download the app. Everybody at the party downloads the app, and they go to your event, and everybody who takes pictures with their phone, no app download required. It's just app clips and Android instant apps let you participate without having to download the app, which is really cool. But you have all these cool templates you can make. And as you take your pictures, they instantly go into this network and everybody can see the photos. It's just a fun way to do a group disposable looking picture kind of environment without the waste and the, see, I hate that. That's my biggest frustration right now with the way the world is. I don't understand why people have been fighting for waste removal for so long and less waste and less plastic and less mess, and yet disposable cameras are more popular than ever. So this app I was just telling you about, it's called the POV.camera, is where you would go. That's a neat alternative to that app-based thingamajigger-maboober. It's a technical term. You could use it if you want. All right. There is a lot more to talk about. So obviously there was that capture thing. This is another really interesting thing that Steve shared with me when I was on my lunch, actually, earlier today. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but I might as well. It's called a Pocket Dispo. Apparently, it is a point-and-shoot camera or a disposable camera lens on a camera mount. So you can take a disposable camera lens and mount it to your Sony E camera or an RF camera or Fuji or a Nikon Z mount or any of these cameras. So now people are really taking it to that next level of disposable looking pictures and literally mounting a disposable lens on a true high-end camera. And that's pretty wild. Another really cool thing, and this is what's used. Actually, there is more to the conversation. Let me just dip away from what I'm sharing for a quick second. There's some more things I want to talk about for what's new. One cool thing that's new, and I'm going to talk about this at the end of the conversation as well, is the Shop More, Get More promotion. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is it ends tomorrow on the 20th of June. So this is the final day that you can actually come in. Anything you buy that's over $100, you're going to get emailed to you a gift certificate that you can come back. You can redeem that gift certificate between July 5th and the 25th for a discount on whatever you buy. So if you're going to come in and you're going to buy yourself one of these lenses here, and that lens is going to be $1,100, for $1,100, you get a $100 voucher that you can come back in July and utilize for a battery or a memory card or cases or whatever you want to add to that. So the Buy More, Get More promotion is pretty amazing. And the last thing in the what's new is this little cool thing that's happening here at our store on Sunday. I will move this closer. Lightroom mobile course that our friend Daniel is running here at the store. I talked about this before. It's just $10 and you can come in and learn how to use the Lightroom mobile app on your phone or tablet to do all your editing remotely anywhere you are. It makes things much easier, and Daniel's really good at using this stuff, so he's put this really cool presentation together for everybody. Now we're going to get to what's used. As you know, on this show, I talk about what's new and used. I talk about our core conversation. New and used doesn't necessarily mean a new thing or a used thing. It means something that we use in the industry sometimes. One of the things that I rely on here at the store, and I know this is going to be kind of a weird thing to talk about in a show in this way, is this website resource from dpreview.com. DP Review is Digital Photography Review. It's been around a really long time. They just went through a reworking, but that's irrelevant to this conversation. What they have is this cool thing where you go to the cameras, you go to the side-by-side comparison, and you get this really great resource. So if I want to see what's the difference between Nikon Z6 Mark II and Mark III, I can literally just compare them side by side here and see every little difference between them, learn why it would be important for me to move up or whatever. Honestly, I'm doing it because I want to, and I need it. It's such a good camera. All right, and that's that for there. And there's also interesting third-party lenses that we have in stock. So that's what we have right behind me here. So third-party lenses, again, we're sticking on the theme of lenses that are not being made by the manufacturer. And we've got actually a pretty cool selection of used stuff here in the store right now. One of which is the Tamron G2 70-200 f2.8. 70-200 lenses are known for being great portrait lenses, wedding lenses, hockey, indoor action where you're standing at a bit of a distance. A 2.8 aperture lets in so much light. A lens like that becomes super functional when you're shooting far or a little bit wider, but you're not going to be right at the side. Like I shoot ringside wrestling. This wouldn't work for that, but it would certainly work if I were sitting back at the end of the room, sniping some shots into the ring itself. So the 70-200 Tamron G2, normally they're about $2,000, I believe, $19.99 or so. Our used one, this is a good copy of it. It's selling for $11.50. So something to think about. Samyang is another line I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. They make all kinds of funky different focal lengths and so on. This is a micro 4/3 mount, so for Olympus or Panasonic, selling for only $230. It's a 12 millimeter f2. So pretty specialized prime, very wide lens with a nice bright aperture, great for indoor parties, great for a lot of things where you need a wide field of view. Maybe even astro, if you're doing Milky Way photos, could be really interesting. Something to think about for only $230. Sigma 35 mil. Now here's the thing, Sigma lenses are our main third-party line, I think. Tamron and Sigma would probably be the two third-party lenses that we here at Henry's will sell the most of. Sigma, to me, has a special place in my heart because for years when I was running Day Tripper Photo, well, I still am, but doing group workshops and going to Algonquin Park or hockey workshops or all these light painting and cool things that I used to do, Sigma sponsored all those workshops. So on every one of my sessions for the past 15 years, I would, well, maybe not everyone, but the majority of them, I would carry these huge briefcases of lenses with me and customers would get to use them. And Sigma has been phenomenal for Day Tripper and for Henry's itself. The distribution company, and this is how things are done in Canada. Sigma is distributed by a company called Gentech International there in Markham. They give us Sigma lenses and SanDisk memory cards and different camera bag brands and all these different things. And that's how we in Canada order our Sigma lenses. And that's the same for any manufacturer, any retailer, I should say. In Canada, they have to buy from Gentek. The great part about that is they're in Markham. Anytime you have an issue with a Sigma lens or a Manfrotto tripod, you can bring it to us. We're here for you. But if you want to go just to Markham, it'll speed it up a little bit, and they're great for service. So getting into a Sigma 35 or a 50 mil prime lens, you buy it new, they have a 7-year warranty. That's the longest I know of in the industry right now. Tamron, by the way, new would be a 6-year warranty. So they both have some pretty great warranties compared to original manufacturer, which are all 1 year. Nikon, Sony, everybody now, 1 year parts and labor, bodies, lenses, everything. So now we have our great help extended warranty program, which I endorse. As you know, if you know me, I talk about it, I recommend it, I buy it on my own gear. The Z6 III I'm buying, I'm putting it on there because I know that there could be issues. When you add that warranty to the 7-year or the 6-year plans, it adds to it. You have 10 years or 9 years warranty on that. And because it's transferable, you can actually sell it 6 years from now and it'll still have a remainder of the warranty that you can sell as something you can monetize. So getting into that is a solid choice. Another big asset to a third-party lens. And then there's situations like this where you'll have, two different lenses. They're both used. Again, going back to the used conversation. We do have a Nikon 10-24. Now, this is the lens, not the exact serial number version, but the same model that I use for this rodeo photo. Nice and wide, 10-24, gives you great wide field of view. It's a 4.5 aperture at the far end and a 3.5 at the wide. So it's a bit of a variable aperture, where this guy is the Tokina 12-24, and it has a fixed f4 aperture right across the whole range. $299 used compared to $450 used. So even a used version of a very similar lens in a third party is going to be a lot more cost effective, and you can buy that and the warranty for the same price as the Nikon used. So food for thought, food for thought. All right, and that's pretty much the used conversation. I can keep going on all the used stuff we have in here, but I just wanted to talk about a few of the, again, third-party lenses that we do have in our store right now. But before we go any further, I just want to see any comments. Oh, nothing really. My mother is watching. Hello. Hi, Brian J. My middle name, Jonathan. Now the world knows. Thanks, Mom. I can use a new digital pen. Digital pen. Is that the Olympus camera? Hi, Brian, Steve. Hello. They are great. Okay, cool. Let's go back to our core conversation. Now, this is where we're going to start talking about some of the differences between all these lenses. And I just want to stress, I said it earlier, you date the body, but you marry the lens. But I also say the lens is your personality. The camera's your tool, but the lens is your personality. So my suggestion for choosing the right lens is really thinking about what images you make, because it's super important. You're going to spend a lot of money on lenses, and if you don't buy the right one, you'll be exchanging them all the time, not really knowing which one's right for you. I always recommend deal with a kit lens until you know what you like to shoot. That kit lens will have a general zoom range, a 24-70, 24-120, 24-105, something like that. It gives you a broad range to work with. You find what photos you shoot the most in that focal length, and that's the lens that's where you're going to spend your money, on that kind of a range. Either that, or if you tell yourself 10 times that you can't do something with the lenses you have, buy the lens you can finally do that with. That to me represents a need rather than a want. The only reason I'm buying that Z6 III is because I kind of need it at this point. I've wanted it for years and they finally made it, and now I need it. So that's going to be mine. Yeah, so because there are so many lenses or so many options for lenses, you really have to kind of narrow down what you're going to shoot. You might end up with 20 lenses. That's up to you. If you do, my name's Brian Weiss. I work here at Henry's in Newmarket. You can come see me. But in the meantime, I'm just going to go on record and say branded lenses, at least in their higher end series, will generally be a little sharper, a little faster, a little cleaner as far as the clarity and the bokeh and the texture of the backgrounds and stuff like that. Generally, not always. But in my opinion, if you're going to buy a Nikon Z lens and you buy the S series, it will be better than most third-party lenses in some ways. Same as the Canon L lens may be better than third-party lenses in some ways. The key is to think about what you're shooting, what your budget is, and then, you know, how far you want to go down this rabbit hole. If you were going to be buying, like I was suggesting before, the Nikon 10-24, I bought it because I'm at the point in my photography where I have certain expectations, and I've used the other versions and I feel it focuses a bit quicker, and that's kind of what I was looking for. And that really did pan out nicely for this rodeo photo. But that doesn't mean I couldn't have made that photo if I was using the Sigma 10-20. Plus the Sigma 10-20 was a lot cheaper, and it's a fixed f3.5 aperture, which lets a little bit more light in, little bit better for a Milky Way style photo or certain other types of pictures. So where I chose the 10-24 Nikon, in some cases that Sigma is a better price or better value, a better lens for some people. So you really have to think about what you're using it for. So let's go over some of these different types of lenses that are out there. There's a brand called Lens Baby, where it's like an accordion. When you put the lens on your camera, you tilt the lens and you shift it to give you a different twist and a different feel to your picture. It makes things look like a miniature, almost like a tilt shift lens, which I'm going to talk about next or in a couple seconds. But it really does give you an interesting look to your photo. Plus, Lens Babies give you the option of adding these little disc aperture inserts where it'll change the texture of the bokeh in the background. So for example, you take a picture at Christmas time. There's little twinkle lights behind you. The shape of those twinkle lights, you can turn them into a heart, or you can turn them into a diamond, or you can turn them into a swirly pattern, or whatever the disc shape is that fits inside the lens. So really interesting for creative effects. Laowa, a brand that we actually order in through a company called Amplis. I talked about Gentek distributing Sigma. Amplis is who we get the Tamron product from. But they also sell these Laowa lenses. And I'm going to do another screen share here because these are some pretty interesting lenses. This is the 24mm f14 probe lens. And if I scroll down here, you can see it's a very weird shape. It's very, very long. And it gets you in. Okay, before I go here, guys, warning, bug warning. If you don't want to see bugs, close your eyes now because I'm showing bugs. You can get in super close to things. And you can see how that probe lens just gets right in on stuff with a little light on the end. But then you end up seeing this really wild footage, really close up, and it's just a super interesting way to try something new. Sorry about the bugs, I'll move past it. There's never a good thing seeing bugs all the time. But that's just one other option for creating something a little more interesting, and that's made by a company called Laowa, a Chinese company, I believe. Fisheye lenses. There's so many other fisheye lenses, super wide lenses now. Steve was showing me, I believe they had a 4mm Laowa. There's all these super wide lenses now that you can fit on the crop sensor cameras or the full frame cameras of all different lens mounts. Even the Nikon Z mount is coming out in a lot of these different lenses. Speaking of which, my friend Michael Drukarsh bought the 85mm Miki lens, M-E-K-E. Great value, is an f1.2 aperture. He shared a whole bunch of photos with me. They look great. So it's an autofocus lens for a Nikon Z camera. He has a Z8, and it still worked really well. I recommend people try them, but also realize what it is you're getting with these lenses. They will do some funky things. They may not be the best overall quality. So your expectation kind of has to change. If you're expecting true Nikon Z8 high-end quality out of a disposable camera, you'll be disappointed. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. Realize that if you spend $300 on a lens that you'd buy from Nikon for $3,000, there's likely a difference in the glass quality, in the coatings, in the build quality of the chassis. Now, Michael is saying that that Miki lens is actually very well built. I haven't used one, but it's something to look at. Now, there's another really cool lens by a company called Seven Artisans. And this is something that, again, Steve kind of showed me earlier. It is this funky tilt shift lens. And a tilt shift is a way to get a very miniature looking image. It makes the whole world look small, basically. Let's see if I can show this video here and give you an idea of how this could look. Here we are. So you can see it really makes everything look like miniaturized. And that's just the way that the lens is going to tilt to the left or right or up or down. Fascinating thing that you can get now from these manufacturers. And it's what's really interesting to me is it's free shipping on anything over $88, which is an arbitrary number. Don't know why that's there, but it's a thing. And thank you, Steve, for pointing that out to me. $88, that's so random. But other lenses like a Voigtlander 50mm f1 is available now for Nikon Z. A Voigtlander, that's the lens I want to try. A 50 mils, a focal length that I love to shoot with. It's an f1 aperture, which means this eyelash will be in focus, but this eyelash will be blurry. Gives you real control over what you're trying to do. So again, having all these different options is a lot of fun. So again, back to the third-party lenses that we stock most often. You'll find a lot of Sigma here in our store, like this 150 to 600. Again, 7-year guarantee. A lens like this is $1,300, $1,500 tops. And you can get them usually in stock. Canon, they're not made for the Nikon Z yet, but the Canons, the Sonys, I'm not sure what other brands, maybe Fuji's, I'm not sure, but a solid choice for a wildlife lens. Again, distributed in Gentek and Markham. Amplis for Tamron is also in Markham, so service is readily available all over the place. Again, just try all these different things. Really experiment, have a lot of fun with what you're doing, and you can't go wrong. Just seeing if there's any questions. Hello, Shelly. Oh, and Jerry's watching too. Hi, Jerry. So basically, my family is who's watching the show today, and Aurora. So thank you all for being here. Any questions, guys, on lenses? If you've had an experience with a lens, please let me know. We're almost getting to the 5:30 mark. I've covered a lot, but there's also so much more that we can get into. The problem is we've only got a half an hour, so I'm not going to get into everything. I picked out a whole bunch of lenses that would be interesting for you guys to look at if you came by our store. We have the new lenses from Sigma. We don't have a lot of Tamron or Tokina in our store right now, unfortunately, but those are things that we can order for you. We have alternatives for the brand name options in off-brand, whether you're buying new or used. The lens is so important. So think about your personality. Think about what you love to shoot. For me, I generally stick to a 24-70mm range, but I'm buying something different. When I get this new camera, I'm going to actually get the 17-28 f2.8 lens. It's wider, it's a little bit lighter, a lot less expensive, more appropriate for, I think, what I'm going to use it for. Again, wrestling, low light action, bringing a $3,000 lens into that environment is amazing, but a little overkill for a lot of situations. Plus that 17mm is going to give me a wider field of view than I'm used to, which is going to prevent me cutting people's heads and feet off, which I'm doing all the time. So think about what you shoot, think about how you shoot, where you're going to be, where you're going to use these lenses, what kind of investment you want to make, and then come into our store. Give us a holler. Let's have a conversation about what you're thinking. We can make some suggestions on these other options and always just go from there. All right, guys. If there are no questions for me today, there's music playing. Oh, right.
I was wondering what it was.
Yes, sorry about that. Yeah, that was, I figured that out today. I can actually share a video and it'll play the audio through the OBS, which is Shtegain. Very cool. I don't know what Shtegain means. I just say it. I don't know. I'm weird. Okay, before I say goodbye to everybody, I want to kind of do something a little different. I haven't done this yet on the show. I'm going to kind of use this show for a bit of a personal reason. I don't know if you've noticed the shirts that I wear every week. These are shirts from wrestlers, friends of mine, colleagues, people in the local Ontario industry who are professional wrestlers. And every week I put on a different shirt from a friend or a wrestler that I'm supporting. This week I have the Alexia Nicole shirt on because of a lot of reasons. One, I just bought it. I saw her a couple weekends ago, so support my friends. Two, Alexia Nicole is just going through a major health scare right now. She has blood clots and other things going on. Medically, she can't wrestle. So for the next 6 months to possibly forever, from what she said, she may not be able to get back in the ring. Now, Alexia is amazing. Like, she is probably one of the strongest women. There's photos that I'm going to show back here all the time with Alexia Nicole. She's 4 foot, 11, 4 foot 10, and she can power bomb guys bigger than me with muscles out to there. hammer them. It's just incredible what she can do, and she works so hard at what she does. So if anybody is interested in supporting somebody who works so hard like that, I'm just going to throw it out there. She has this really cool page on prowrestlingtees.com where you can go and buy her swag or buy her shirts, and that really helps her out. When wrestlers don't work, this is how they can kind of keep going, by having their shirts being sold or any other things that they sell. She's just got a lot of really cool shirts. I like this one. Shelly got this one too. So if you can, and if you know Alexia Nicole, and if you really care about it, maybe go to Pro Wrestling Tees, search Alexia Nicole, and pick up a shirt or two. Help her out. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time. Don't forget, tomorrow is the end of the Shop More, Get More promotion. And our photo challenge currently going on is for the month of June. By the way, I won't be here for the photo review. I'll be on vacation for that week or two. So there'll be a couple of weeks where we're not going to be doing the show, coming in the first couple of weeks of July, because I'm out of here. But when I come back, we'll start right off. The first show will be the photo review show, and we'll get into the photos for the theme, Pride. So keep getting your photos made. We've had a few submissions already. Thank you to everybody who's contributed to our challenge. Don't forget, these are new photos, not something that you had in your archive, that relates to the word Pride. However you want to interpret it. It could be related to Pride Month. It could be just self-pride. It could be anything you want it to be. But please, make a cool photo, send it in to us. Give us a brief description of what you want to do or what you want to call it and what your thought process was while making it. And email it to newmarket@henrys.com, and we'll be able to talk about that on our photo review show. Anything else, guys? Did I forget anything? No? Nothing? Daniel's Workshop, yep, the $10 Lightroom. I did not mention that. Thank you. If you register for that Lightroom workshop that Daniel will be running, the Lightroom Mobile, I mentioned how it's $10. What I did not mention is that that money goes straight to the Canadian Mental Health Association, which is Henry's charity of choice. And again, you can come in and donate to CMHA with us anytime you purchase. We'll always try and ask you, but this is a nice $10 donation that goes straight to them. So if you want to learn how to use Lightroom Mobile on your tablet, your phone, it's only $10, and you can come in on the date we're holding this is June 23rd. That's this coming Sunday, and that'll be at 1 p.m. Don't forget to register, newmarket@henrys.com. If there's no other questions in the chat, whoop, thanks. Oh, Auntie Lee, you're late. Joe's watching. Hey, Joe, how's it going? Thank you, Steve. You rock too. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'm out of here. Thank you all so much for watching this week's weekly BrYangle report. I will see you all next time.